Hello, everyone, and welcome to News Bharati Studio. Myself, Samir Khadatkar, advisor at News Bharati. Welcome you all again for today's very nice program and have a very nice collaboration with Indo-Japanese Business Council to develop a business relation with Japan is an agenda of many industrialists and many business persons. And for this purpose, we are here to have a good conversation between India and Japan. So I welcome all the members here present in our studio. I first welcome Mr. Siddharth Deshmukh from IJBC. He is the president of IJBC. Then Mr. Satyajit Joshi. He is a renowned, what we can say, mm, media person. And Mr. Kedar Naik. He's a geopolitics expert, and he will speak about India-Japan relationship on geopolitics purpose. And here we have a chief editor of News Bharati, Anjali. So welcome you all again. And I think person from Japan and the member of IJBC, Dhanushri Madam, is on the with us. So I first welcome to Dhanushri Ma'am on this platform. And before we launch our today's event or maybe the India-Japan canvas, I would like to know something from Dhanushri about IJBC's perspective.
Sure. Hello, namaste, and good afternoon, good evening
Please
to
remove the
everyone.
mute, madam.
I have removed. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So thank you for this opportunity, and it is really good initiative, I believe, for strengthening more big strong bond between India and Japan. As we already know that last year 2022 we have celebrated our 70th anniversary of diplomatic relationship of India and Japan, and with that IJBC, Indo-Japan Business Council, which is a purely bilateral chamber which helps to strengthen this bond more and more, has celebrated and organized many such events, as we are going to have this one of that category. So which is really good, and very happy to share the news that we are going to start this beautiful canvas.
Excellent, madam. And now tell us about your role in IJBC as well as your professional part.
Okay, sure. So, starting with my professional side, I am working in Japan since 1.5 year in the medical
Yeah,
industry. I am working as a language professional as well. I have completed Japanese levels, and I can speak Japanese and translate and interpret. So I'm working on that. And in IJBC, I am very much happy to contribute some of my part, which like I can help with my Japanese language skills, and I'm working as a executive secretary in IGBC community.
excellent. So, what is your expectation from this India-Japan canvas?
So I would love to hear more and more experiences from people who are, getting bond together with India and Japan, not only with the trade relation or day-to-day life, but also with the cultural part or cross-cultural communication, or maybe the common points of India and Japan, or different point from India and Japan. So that I'm really looking forward to it.
Excellent. So now I think next part is our uh, we can say that what is the reason that we are going to start this India Japan Canvas blog. I think regarding the same, I am asking Mr. Siddhar, can you just elaborate the opening part of this? Canvas.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much to News Bharati for such a wonderful initiative and approaching us to work on this. I would like to thank Samir ji, especially who is instrumental in making sure that this initiative actually get to see the Japanese sun, which is rising first in the world. Just about 15 days back, I think me and my colleague appear here at Newsbati Studio for a um, interview where we discuss different initiatives about IGBC, and we talked about IGBC. And after that interview, there was a conversation, and we realized that we should use the potential platform of News Bharati to make sure that more and more information reach to the people which matters to them, because there are two type of news usually we hear. One is a lot of headline which both government want to publish. For example, India will send almost 100,000 people, 1 lakh people from India to Japan. I am still ready, not able to figure out how, but that's a good headline. I think you agree, right? So we read those kind of a news. Another news is very simple. A student want to go to Japan, or somebody want to, maybe sir want to travel to Japan as a tourist, and or a small business want to do the business with Japan. Now this headline doesn't help there. They need actual information which is useful to them, and that's why the IJBC's birth itself is for that. We decided that we will provide the useful information, we will bring the useful collaboration, and we will make sure that everything which we do is useful to that level where you can use that information and make your mission happen. So I thought, why not we start a separate section on News Bharti, and where we will, like Dhanashri just now mentioned, that she was to listen more and more experiences from the people who went there and done that. The people who are here not able to win Japan but still contributing to that relationship. There are many initiatives, many things happening between two countries, not only on government level but personal and private level as well. So how to take it to the people more effectively and more often, then I thought maybe News Bharti could be a good medium. And so we decided to work on this, and we hope we will, as a knowledge partner of News Bharti, we will able to bring more and more such information to their doorstep, and then our able editors and the staff at News Bharti will pick up and present it in a manner which is really effective and useful to the people. So that's the entire context of this initiative.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I think so now the role of IJBC is finalized, and they are going to support us to develop this India Japan canvas. And now I am asking our chief editor Anjali that please explain us about the role of News Bharati in this canvas.
So my name is Anjali Ankad. I am chief editor of News Bharati. So before that, I would like to speak more about News Bharati. News Bharati is a leading online platform with a community of more than 5 lakh readers. It is playing the role in creating and strengthening the nationalist narrative. Besides, News Bharati also covers international sports, culture, religion, entertainment. With that, we also have a wide pool of authors, experts, writers who contribute regularly on various topics. So now the question arises, why News Bharati is collaborating with IJBC. So basically, News Bharati wants to be a part of this exciting collaborative venture to promote a deeper uh, 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 to promote the culture, economic, and diplomatic ties binding these two influential nations, which is why we have dedicated a section on named Indo-Japanese Canvas. So I want to just elaborate about Indo-Japanese Canvas. This section will offer weekly articles that will be published on News Bharati platform. It will provide insightful, engaging, and up-to-date coverage of India-Japan relations. Uh, so. Um, News it will not limit itself to diplomacy. It will explore the diverse subjects such as business, industry, defense, people, the food, and culture. And I think this approach will definitely ensure that readers will gain a comprehensive understanding of a deep rooted connection between these two nations. So I think News Bharati would be absolutely is absolutely honored and excited to be part of it. So thank you, Indo-Japanese Business Council, for it. So yeah.
Thank you, Anjali. And now I am going to ask our maybe the friends and another media's person, Mr. Satyajit Joshi. Please tell us about the political part of India-Japan relationship.
I think India and Japan and they both are natural friends. I would rather say they are brothers. Something go beyond friendship. The main reason for this is the culture. Both of them lot of cultural commonalities, and one can say, and I can see that India Japanese relations have been good since independence, but they are more, I think, strong in the past few years. They are more meaningful and taking us to a particular, direction during the last 8-9 years when Narendra Modi came to the power. I think both are, very strong nations which have very huge potential, very huge potential to change the scenario of the not only Asian but also world also, because technologically Japan is far ahead and India is also becoming very strong on technological front in the past few years. India also has very huge potential by all means to change the world scenario also. So I think Indo Japanese relation in the current context is very meaningful, not only for two countries, but it can change the international equations also, I can say. So that is very, and of course, for that, see, it's not only business purpose. Indo-Japanese Business Council is, of course, both are interested in each other, promoting business and everything. But I think these two countries go beyond business culture because of several. The basic thing I think is that uh, philosophy of both the countries, ethos of both the countries, it is the one and same. So which is the most significant thing which I can see will make a very decisive role in taking this initiative to its logical conclusion. And I wish all the best for this initiative.
Thank you. So now I think I am interested to know more about India-Japan business relation part. So I welcome Ms. Srupti ma'am, who she is CEO of Rajpath Infracom, and she is dealing with many other countries also, including Japan. So I want to know more about your journey with the other countries, including Japan.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm from Rajpath Infracon. Rajpath Infracon has been the company which made the first ever Guinness World Record in the history of Indian infrastructure in the road making sector. So I think that opened avenues for us to work for, associate with many countries in the world. It established that India was, in fact, far ahead of time in terms of technology, in terms of project management, in terms of resource management, and so many other capabilities. So it basically put India on the global map of infrastructure development. We have not really worked with Japan directly. We have been receiving a lot of propositions, though, from developing countries in Africa, some Asian countries as well. And we are strongly considering how we want to take the next step in collaborating and selecting projects. So during this time, obviously there was some background research and some associations and some discussions. And what we realized is, and what we found out was very impressive and actually conducive to our intent, was the fact that Japan has been throughout associated very closely for bilateral business and trade relationships, especially the ODA. So India happens to be, I understand, the largest recipient of ODA loans. And Japan, in turn, happens to be the fifth larger fund provider for Indian projects, if I'm not mistaken, right? So taking that into context, the trend shows that about 66% of investment from these ODA loans comes exclusively for infrastructure development in India, out of which 13% goes for roads, 45% goes for railways. So these figures are unchallengeable. They are so impressive that they would win the confidence of any aspiring infrastructural development organization. Having said that, I think just in March 2023, Japan has committed about 7,000 or crores for three big projects in India. One of them is the Patna Rail Metro project. I think the second is one in Rajasthan for water livelihood improvement. And the third is the project for protection of India's sustainability development goals. So I think it is about protection of environment and biodiversity in the West Bengal region. Our own goals from Rajpath are absolutely in line. They are aligned with these initiatives. We are very keen about protecting environment, although we are a road construction organization, and we also take up irrigation projects. So these sort of themes are very close to our own initiatives, and there is a lot of overlap of interest in both these areas. But at the same time, we are a little cautious because of the kind of policies that, although we are opening up various trade policies, the concern about open international bidding with the ODA is going to be a concern for us. We will definitely have to look at that. And also the evaluation process of our government for really needy and impactful infrastructural projects is time consuming sometimes. Now, Rajpath is believed to execute projects before their deadline. Our Guinness World Record for the road was for the fastest made road in the world. So that is a little bit of a concern. But I think if goals are aligned, if themes are coherent for sustainability, for enhanced and quick conversion of business and mutual benefits, we would definitely be keen to associate and explore possibilities to associate. We welcome all sorts of propositions and suggestions and associations. Yeah. Thank you.
So I think Mr. Kedar, now you
Okay.
just brief us about the geopolitical subject
Okay.
and India-Japan relations on that note.
Okay. So, thank you. My name is Professor Kedar Naik, and I work at Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University. So, and I'm very flattered to be part of this initiative. So, when I was asked to be part of this initiative, I refreshed my textbooks. So, I went through Rutledge Handbook of India's International Relations. Then I went through Oxford Handbook of India's Foreign Policy. Then I went through prolific authors like Shashi Tharoor and Harsh Pant and so on and so on and so on. I was surprised. I would say I was shocked that none of them contained a single chapter that specifically deals with the bilateral relations between India and Japan. It was only Sumit Ganguly's book which had such kind of chapter. And then it makes one wonder, like, these are not two small cornered countries whose international relations or foreign policies does not affect the world. Like, India is the world's like biggest democracy and the biggest demography, and it was not long ago that Japan used to have one fifth of world's GDP. Like, it is quite shocking for this generation. Like Japan used to have such kind of share in world's GDP, and still we do not have the kind of focus between India's Japan bilateral relations as we have now today. Like today, we are focusing it like anything. If we go through history, Japan is the nation which has given fillip to the Asian nationalism like no other country. It was Japan's victory over Russia in 1905. It gave Asians hope that they can overthrow the thralls of their European powers and so on. So, like many people, including like the nationalists like Subhash Chandra Bose, Raj Bihari Bose, and at the same time the cosmopolitan global thinkers like Rabindranath Tagore, they were influenced by Japan and they were impressed by Japan, and then we took to Japan like anything. But after like India got independence and after the Second World War, they tell us that we both chose ideological sides. While Japan was heavily inclined towards United States interest, India chose the non-aligned side. Like for us, Japan was the extension of United States foreign policy in Asia. For Japan, like our non-alignment was nothing but like an instrument to the USSR. But I would say that even in such difficult times, our love story blossomed. It's like our friends and family wouldn't approve of our love story, but it was still blossoming. Like as you mentioned, like we had the peace treaty of 1952, and Kishi and Nehru would visit each other. But like the first Asian Games happened. Asian Games are happening right now. First Asian Games happened in 1951, and we actually personally invited Japan. And why this is important? Japan was considered a pariah state by most of the East Asians, and that's what was happening. And as she beautifully mentioned, that we were the like highest recipients of overseas development assistance, and so on and so Japan invested. It has been a source of FDI, but still, when it comes to geopolitics of it, so we were always on the other side. We thought that we were close friends to China once. We used to think that, and Japan used to look at China like really suspiciously. And even after the end of the Cold War, Japan focusing on pacifism of its peace constitution, it hankered, like it harvested some kind of insecurities towards India because we wanted to have our own nuclear plant, and so and so. But my argument is that like the ideological age of foreign policy is long gone. We are all realists, and we try to look at politics as it is. And I would like to quote a communist minister, Wyszynski, who like Wyszynski was really famous USSR foreign policy maker. And then once he was asked, like, why Bolsheviks are so fixated upon the foreign policy which was carried out by czars, Russian uh, emperors. Then Wyszynski answered, see, if you have to cross Black Sea from Mediterraneans, you'd have to come across Dardanelles. No matter what, who rules in Moscow, be it a czar or be it a communist. So it doesn't matter the what kind of ideology that we have domestically. Like either they are following Shinzo Abe, or either they are going liberal and left, either we are having the nationalist government, or we are going towards left. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we have to cross the Dardanelles, and the Dardanelles, the elephant in the room, is the rise of the China, and that has been such a strong unifying factor between India and Japan relations that we cannot. So, as Kamal Sibal, one of our foreign secretary, mentions, that it is a cherry blossom phase that we are going through, and the very specific geopolitics, the presence of China, its expansionism, its imperialism, makes us to work together. Okay. Yes.
Okay. You want to add something point? Okay.
But do you think that, despite what you said right now, is one can see a lot of kind of different relationship between India and Japan. But my personal feeling is that common cultural views and philosophical, we can see that both the countries are moving towards each other very closely with some affection or something like that. So do you think that this cultural and common philosophy will make some change in the relation of two countries?
Okay. So first of all, definitely. But again, when it comes to Japanese cultural penetration, it's not South Korean pop that like college goers easily understand. Like to understand Japanese culture, you have to watch like hours of Akira Kurosawa. You have to read Murakami. So the kind of like Japan is a cultural superpower. There is no doubt about it. India too is a cultural superpower, but because the sheer volume of the cultural content that India can generate, we can provide the content that has been consumed by elites. At the same time, we can like produce the content which can be consumed readily by the masses, like say our Bollywood and Tollywood. Sadly, Japan is not present in this mass sector nowadays. Okay, it used to be like we had a lot of anime series. Like you could mention Shinchan and no Doraemon, this kind of series. But the Japanese film industry is not inviting Indians. They do not have the kind of pop culture because it may be their aging population and so on and so on. Yes, so what I'm saying is we have a very thick cultural association, but what I'm saying is we could always better ourselves in this. Thank you.
You can add some point related to cultural part of Japan and India.
Um, there are two sides of it, very historic and contemporary. So whenever I sit on this kind of a forum, which I almost sit every second day nowadays, and so Indians try to incline to go to historic, uh, because the origin is from India, the Buddhism, right? Buddhism traveled to Japan through China and Korea. So, and then of course some of the um, monks, like Bodhisattva, directly visited Japan as well. And we as Indian, spiritually, we would like to see that more and think about it that more. But in contemporary world, India and Japan is too far. Japanese, we let's talk about the current generation. There is a stark difference between India and Japan is that in India, we cannot sleep without talking about religion, politics, and Bollywood. In Japan, exactly it is opposite. You never talk about politics, you never talk about religion. And as you mentioned, it is very not so popular movie industry in Japan, right? So what you talk about is improving everything. That means your health, your machines, your electronics, your roads, your everything. So we are talking about going towards ikigai and other aspects of life. So when we say that, then from common Japanese point of view, India is a strange, different country, not so known country. Let's let me bring the point back to the today's initiative is that let's learn Japan in its current state. Then only we will able to do the business. We will able to do everything with them, and let's not have that kind of Japanese have their own perceptions and image about India. Indians have their own perception and image about Japan, and which really doesn't match in the modern world. So IJBC is this is our 5th year we are doing this Konichiwa Pune. Every year we do this festival. We specifically chose mall as a venue for it, so that we don't want to invite people but just stumble upon. If you do especially weekend, you are going to go to mall, so and then you will suddenly find out, oh, something about Japan is happening there, and let me learn more about it. So that easy way of learning about modern Japan, and for Japan is also easy way to learn about India. We trust more on people to people connect than anything else. Those people who read books, those people are interested in history, those people have some context, they will always talk about Buddhism, but not everyone. If anybody in this room want to go to Japan and say, okay, once I go to Japan, I'm going to find out everything Buddhist there, it's not Thailand. If you go to the Thailand, I feel surprised. Is it Buddhism or Hinduism? Because their Buddhism is more like a Hinduism, right? So there are always cultural shocks, and I think for me, culture is always evolving. Culture is always uh, in time, right? So we have to look at Japan from that perspective. And once last point touching about geopolitics, yes, geopolitics, and we are coming to closer, as he rightly mentioned, is thanks to China. So it's a completely different. Let's not make a mistake that the Japan and India relation also once was very strained because we done the nuclear test. So that was also their approach to the geopolitics, right? And at that time they were thinking, now this is bad and it should not be done, and let's sanction the India. Yeah. But the same Japan is now in Quad, and same Japan, his prime minister toggle the key phrase Indo-Pacific. So it's a shift. So the same like a culture, geopolitics always keep changing. And today world is in effort to not to make bipolar world, but it is already bipolar now. So probably I'm not sure how long India can also work on non-aligned this thing. So that is also interesting to check.
Yeah. I think all the points are valid and important for this India Japan canvas. And I think now the time is there that I think Dhanashri ma'am, do you want to say something about?
No, I guess everything has been covered with all the opinions, and I am 100% agree with everyone.
Excellent.
Dhanashri, I have a question, because I think this is your 5th year, not consequently, but previously also as you are in Japan. So you have a lot of Japanese friend, and you met many Japanese every day at your workplace also. So what you
Right.
hear from them about India?
Wow. So you might feel surprising or shocking, but I would like to touch a very basic point here, that people in Japan still thinks that we eat naan every day for in house. So in Japan, there is still this kind of image of India is there, where we are trying to change it as much as possible. But yeah, this is the case, and that is the reason actually I said that I'm really looking forward for this blog, because it will really help to change not only Japan's image but also India's image towards Japan.
Excellent. So all your students should know now about India-Japan canvas,
Yes,
and they will get
definitely.
more information from all this conversation. And now the time is there that we are News Bharati and IGBC is exchanging their memorandum of understanding. And I think from News Bharati, I ask Anjali to and Mr. Siddharth Deshmukh to give this memorandum of understanding to each other, and let's celebrate the next canvas session.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes. Thank you.
I think we have one more.
Yes. Photograph. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So viewers, now this is the formative part done, and now we want your contribution also for this canvas. You maybe write something about Japan relationship, and maybe you are expert in your subject for the development of this India Japan relationship. So please write to us on our email, and you can connect to our News Bharati editor team so that you can write your views, your points on this blog. So thank you very much for joining this India Japan Canvas opening ceremony, and see you soon with next article on India Japan relationship. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.